Hey everybody, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you very much for joining me again today for another card making tutorial. We're going real super simple with the card layout today, and we are using the colour and contour bundle. Really love this for lots of reasons. We've got the two-step stamping and some fab sentiments and a splatter to go with it. Always very useful to have these nice little texture stamps, so that's really cool. But look at these dies, aren't they just lovely? All these different nesting rectangles, all with different elements of stitching and dashes and cutting and stuff like that, so that's really cool. We've got an edge piece here which I'm planning to use as well for something, and then we've got these two dies which will cut out our feature images on the stamp set as well. So that's what we are using. So just going to pull out the dies that I want. I want to use this one and this one to create the card today. So this is what we're going for. So I've got this lovely die cut here, and it cuts in these little slots, which is really nice. Good thread ribbon through it and all sorts. Okay, and a bit of inking through there, and then we've got our bloom, and this is all Flirty Flamingo ink, and I've teamed it with black just for that sort of classic sort of black and pink combo. And then I went monochrome and used Night of Navy and Balmy Blue to create this blue version. Same sort of principle, but I used the Night of Navy as the outline image, and then the Balmy Blue for all the inking. Night of Navy in the layer, and I've also added some of the Stampin' Blends marker over the top of the rhinestones to tone them into the card. Okay, so this is what we are aiming for. So got the dies ready. Need a card base, so it's just I've got some card bases pre-cut, which just here. Just going to fold that in half. This is the thick basic white that I make the white card bases out of if I'm not using coloured cardstock. Okay, so give that a really sharp crease on the top there, and you'll get a nice card that stands up. Okay, so that's how we do the card base. The card layer that we're going to use today is going to be using Blackberry Bliss, which is one of the Regals, and it is one of my absolute favourites in terms of the colours. So this is Blackberry Bliss, and then this is Rich Raspberry, so you've just got that sort of darker tone all the way through that. So we're going to cut our layer from this. I'm just going to show you how to do it, because I don't always show all this kind of stuff on a video, so I thought I'd just do this one pretty much from scratch. So hopefully you can see the ruler across the top there on the screen there. I've just chopped that lengthways at 4 1/8 because that makes a card base, and that's going to be my bit that I put back into my file for later. And then this one, we're going to cut down the length first, and normally a full card layer would be 5 3/4, but I'm actually bringing in just a 1/8 there, and then ordinarily I'd cut this at 4, so we're going to take down 1 inch and cut at 3 7/8 of an inch. Okay, so I've just got this little teeny tiny strip here. Now if you're super frugal, I'm sure you can think of ways you can use those little strips. So that's our Blackberry Bliss. That was a bit of a tongue twist. Blackberry Bliss. And then I'm going to grab some white cardstock. This is just an offcut that I've got here. So we cut that Bliss layer at 3 7/8 of an inch, so I'm just going to bring that across 1/8 again and take it down to 3 3/4. Likewise on the length, we took it down to 5 3/4, take it down another 1/8 to 5 3/8, 5 5/8, sorry. Okay, so just that 1/8 of an inch difference is going to give you this really nice, pretty layer around your cardstock. Okay, and you can mess about with layering. You could have cut it a little deeper and have more of the blackberry bliss showing. You could have cut the whole thing smaller and have a bigger border on your cardstock. So there's lots of mixing and matching you can do with layering, which can change the whole aspect of your card. Okay, so there's no stamping to do on this, so I'm just going to grab my seal and just layer this up so it's ready to go, and then once we've done all our die cutting and stuff, it's going to come together very, very quickly. So just holding one end up, making sure the bottom 3 are lined up. Oh, that's too long. Did I not cut that right? Evidently not. Oh, I need to take off another 1/8 of an inch on there. So because my tape's on there, so it's down to 5 1/2. Just take off that slither. It just sticks slightly to the thing. It's amazing how if you're talking about explaining things, how all of a sudden your brain stops working and things become harder. You can do it in your sleep normally if you're not talking to people. So I'd just like to run over that just a little bit, and then we'll put this onto our card base. Like so. I like to have it flat so that it sits. Line it up, 3 corners or 3 edges, and then it's down, and just reinforce the crease. Card base done. Okay, really deep dark colour, but it is really beautiful blackberry bliss. I just absolutely love it. Okay, so here's a scrap of paper for us to do our stamping. So we're going to do the outline images in that blackberry bliss colour. Okay, really nice deep dark colour. Make sure it's well inked, and get that down. Really beautiful, absolutely love it. Okay, could do with a bit of re-inking, I think, actually, because it's just looking a little less clean than it usually does. I just want to get that stamp cleaned off very quickly. The pink and red tone inks will stain your photopolymer, so it's just nice to get them wiped off as soon as you can to minimise that staining if it bothers you. Drives me a little crackers, to be fair. I mean, it does mean that they are well used and stuff, but I don't know, I just like my clear stamps to be clear, really. It doesn't affect them at all, it's just me being fussy. And then the rich raspberry, rich raspberry we'll be using for the centre there. So just look over the top and roughly line it up. This stamp does not match exactly with the line art, so you've got a lot of breathing space on there to get that in the right place. All right, so again, I'm just going to give that a clean. Whilst before I move on to something else. Voila! Right, I'm going to bring in our dies. Just line that up over the top. And secure that in with our bits of tape, and then we just want to cut our sentiment panel as well, so we can put those both through the larger Stampin' Cut and Emboss. Individually, those two dies that I'm using will go through a mini. Obviously the larger rectangles in the set wouldn't, but it is an option should you wish to use these particular elements. You can do it with a mini. So there's our floral accent and our little sentiment panel all cut, and we're just going to do just a little bit of inking through, totally optional. So it's into this well used piece of scrap paper, so the die will want to come off your cardstock very easily. But if you hold it down and just wiggle it over, you'll feel it lock into place on over the top of the cutting there. And I'm going to take the Rich Raz, the paler only just of the inks, and just the smidge of ink on there, take most of it off, and just add just a bit of colour over the top of there. Now I have used this brush for my other purple colours before, so there may be a bit of that coming through as well. So that's a little heavier than I would have wanted it, but it's fine. It'll all come good on the actual cardstock. You will want to make sure that you've just wiped off your die, just with a damp cloth or something, before you put it away, just so you don't end up with ink on any more of your projects. So that's the inking through on that. While we're here, I think what we'll do is we'll turn that around so that the darker patch is on that side, or shall we? Yeah. Just going to use a little bit of wet glue to secure this to the panel. Just putting it in the middle bit there. And just placing that on there where I think it will look good, and we can just leave that to dry for a moment while we stamp the sentiment. So we'll bring back the Blackberry Bliss. See if we can get that nice and well inked in the where there's more ink on the ink pad. So I need to get the re-inker for that, I think. So there's a nice straight edge on the top of that sentiment, which is what I've used to line that up with the ink that I have just put on there. I've got a few little ink crystals that have appeared on the top of that, which has just made that look a little splotchier than I wanted it to. But that's that sort of tone on tone look there. And we're going to raise this up onto two dimensionals. So I'm going to do 4 of those just to keep it nice and balanced on my card. We can bring that in. So I want to make sure it's straight, so if I put some wet glue over the top of those dimensionals, it gives me the best of both worlds. It gives me the dimension but also the wriggle room to then make sure that this is where I want it to be. Just looking for the sides of those that scalloped rectangle to be where I want it to be and not too high up. little rogue piece of ink has just has appeared on there. Then once you're happy, if you give them a bit of a press, that'd be cool. And then what I've done is I've taken my rhinestones and my Blackberry Bliss marker. And you don't have to colour these at all. You could have left them plain, because the clear ones obviously will go with any colourway. But that marker pen will dry quite quickly, and we can just drop in our 3 little embellishments, which just bring that extra little something to the design and just sort of puts in that visual triangle for you. So my personal favourite is the blue, like the black and pink, and then this is the Blackberry Bliss and Rich Raz. Okay, so I think this one's turned out the best personally. Interested to see what other colour combinations you think would look good. Happy to hear your thoughts on that. And as always, all the products are going to be linked in the description bar below. Hope you've enjoyed watching this video. Please do like and subscribe. Thanks everybody, have a great day. Bye.